మెయిన్స్ 2020 మొదటి ప్రయత్నంలోనే 45 మంది విద్యార్థులకు గాను 36 మంది విద్యార్థులు ఐఐటి అడ్వాన్స్డ్ కి అర్హత సాధించి అత్యద్భుతమైన ప్రతిభను సామాన్యమైన విద్యార్థుల ద్వారా నిరూపించిన ఏకైక విద్యా సంస్థ కృష్ణమూర్తి ఐఐటి అండ్ నీట్ అకాడమీ నెల్లూరు.
Good morning, children. Till yesterday we have completed how many kinds of salivary glands are there and where they are present, where is their location, and the gastric glands as well as intestinal glands we have seen. So today we will see about liver and pancreas. Liver is the largest gland. Liver is the largest gland in the human body. Which is the largest gland in the human body? Liver is the largest gland in the human body. The weight of liver is 1.2 to 1.5, that is nearly 1.5 kg in weight. 1.2 to 1.5 kgs in a weight. The location of liver. Liver is located below the diaphragm, in the abdominal cavity. Liver is located below the diaphragm in the abdominal cavity towards the right side. Towards the right side. Liver consists of two lobes. The lobes of the liver are called hepatic lobes. Liver consists of two lobes. The lobes of the liver are called hepatic lobes. What is the shape of these hepatic lobes is, the shape of these hepatic lobes is hexagonal in shape. Hexagonal shape. So such kind of liver lobe we will call as hexagonal hepatic lobe. Liver has two lobes. Each lobe is of hexagonal shape. That lobe we will call as hepatic lobe. So the liver which is of hexagonal shape we will call as hexagonal hepatic lobe. So if you see where the liver is present, I said liver is present towards the right side. Towards the right side I have said. Towards the right side, that is in the abdominal cavity below the diaphragm. Below the diaphragm. So this is diaphragm. So below the diaphragm we can see the liver. We can see the liver which is present below the diaphragm towards the right side, that is in the abdominal cavity. So each liver is of a hexagonal shape. That lobes, it consists of two lobes. Each lobe we will call as hepatic lobe. So this hexagonal hepatic lobe is covered by a thin connective sheath. Thin connective sheath, which is covered by thin connective sheath. Hepatic lobes are covered by thin connective sheath. That thin connective sheath is called Glissen's capsule. Glissen's capsule. Important bit, children. Which is called Glissen's capsule. Glissen's capsule is nothing but a thin connective sheath which is covering the hepatic lobes. Or this hepatic lobe is of hexagonal shape, which is covered by a thin connective sheath called Glissen's capsule. So Glissen's capsule is a thin connective sheath which covers the hexagonal hepatic lobe. So each hexagonal hepatic lobe consists of hepatic cells. Hepatic cells are present inside the hepatic lobes. Hepatic cells are arranged in the form of hepatic cords are arranged in the form of hepatic cords. So what are hepatic cords? So if you see the shape of the liver, so if you see the shape of the liver, it is arranged in such a way that is in a hexagonal shape, so, in a hexagonal shape. So the shape of each hepatic lobe is of a hexagonal shape where the cells are arranged in the form of hepatic cords, we said. So what is meant by hepatic cord is, so this is called the central vein, whereas these these are called hepatic cells. So this structure of cells which are arranged linely, these cells are called hepatic cord. So hepatic cords, these are called hepatic cords. So these are called hepatic cords. Hepatic cord. So which are present in the hepatic cord? Hepatic cells are present. Hepatic cells are present. So this is Glissen's capsule. Glissen's capsule. Glissen's capsule. So in this way the cells are arranged in the form of hepatic cord. Hepatic cord. Hepatic cord. These hepatic cords are filled are nothing but hepatic cells. Hepatic cells. Why we are calling as hepatic cells is hepatic, the cell of liver is called hepatic cells. So these hepatic cells are arranged in the form of hepatic cord. Hepatic cells secretes bile juice. Hepatic cells secrete bile juice. The bile juice which is secreted by hepatic cells comes out through hepatic ducts. Comes out through hepatic ducts. Comes out through hepatic ducts. So the bile juice which is coming out through hepatic ducts is stored in a small muscular sac-like structure called gallbladder. Muscular sac-like structure called gallbladder. What is gallbladder? Gallbladder is a pear-shaped small muscular sac which is present between the lobes of liver. Which is present between the lobes of liver. So this is a muscular sac called gallbladder. So what is stored in the gallbladder? Bile juice which is secreted by the hepatic cells of the liver. That bile juice is stored in a pear-shaped thin muscular sac called gallbladder. So the bile juice which is secreted by hepatic cells is concentrated in the gallbladder. What is concentrated? Bile juice is concentrated. Where it is concentrated? Bile juice is concentrated in the gallbladder. Bile juice is concentrated in the gallbladder. How much bile juice is produced? How much bile juice is produced per day is nearly we can say half liter to 1 liter of bile juice is produced per day. Bile juice is produced per day in the liver. All this, the bile juice which is stored in the liver is connected or comes out through a duct called cystic duct. Cystic duct. What is meant by cystic duct? Cystic duct is the duct of gallbladder. Duct of gallbladder is called cystic duct. Duct of gallbladder is called cystic duct. What is cystic duct? Cystic duct is nothing but the duct which arises from the gallbladder is called cystic duct. Another duct also is there. What is the another duct means? The other duct is called hepatic duct. Hepatic duct. Hepatic duct is the duct which arises from liver, which arises from liver is called hepatic duct. So both the cystic duct as well as hepatic duct unite together and forms into a common hepatic duct. Forms into a common hepatic duct. Common hepatic duct. What is common hepatic duct? Common hepatic duct is the union of cystic and hepatic. Cystic and hepatic. So these both union of cystic duct and hepatic duct. These both commonly we will call as common hepatic duct. So this common hepatic duct opens into the duodenum. Opens into the duodenum. So directly the common hepatic duct directly will not open into the duodenum. It unites with the pancreatic duct. So from the pancreas, this is pancreas. From the pancreas, pancreatic duct arises. Pancreatic duct unites with the common hepatic duct and both combinedly they form as hepatopancreatic duct. What is that duct called, children? So if you see here only the duodenum part, or if you see only the liver, this gallbladder. So the pear-shaped structure is called gallbladder. So the duct which arises from gallbladder is called cystic duct. Is called cystic duct. So if you take the liver, this the duct which is arising from the liver, this is called a hepatic duct. Hepatic duct, and this hepatic duct as well as hepatic duct as well as cystic duct. Cystic duct, hepatic duct, both unite together and commonly form into this one is common hepatic duct. Common hepatic duct. Common hepatic ducts. So again, these both common hepatic duct enters into a C-shaped or U-shaped structure called duodenum. So if you take this as a duodenum, that is this is large intestine. Here, pancreas is present. So even this pancreas unites with these hepatopancreatic ducts. So this total both which is entering into the duodenum we will call as a hepatopancreatic duct. Hepatopancreatic duct. Hepatopancreatic duct. This is the gallbladder. So the duct which arises from pancreas, cystic duct which is coming from the lobes of the liver, we'll call as hepatic duct. Both unite together to form a common hepatic duct. These both unite with the pancreatic duct and enters into the duodenum. That is enters into this part. That is the duodenum part. This is the duodenum. Duodenum, that duct is called hepatopancreatic duct. Is it clear, children? Once again, see the duct which arises from the gallbladder is called cystic duct. The duct which arises from the liver is called hepatic duct. Both the cystic duct as well as hepatic duct unite together to form a common duct called common hepatic duct. Whereas the duct which arises from the pancreas, because pancreas also gives out pancreatic juice. Even that pancreatic juice also must enter into the duodenum. So pancreas unites with this hepatic common duct and forms into a common hepatopancreatic duct. Hepatopancreatic duct is nothing but that is a hepatopancreatic duct. Hepatopancreatic duct. It is nothing but the union of hepatic and pancreas. hepatic and pancreatic duct. So that duct is called hepatopancreatic duct. So because of the union of these both ducts, they forms a structure called ampulla. A structure is formed. Here a structure is formed where the union of these both ducts enters into the duodenum. That structure is called ampulla. That structure is called ampulla. Important big children. That structure is called ampulla. What is meant by ampulla? Ampulla is a structure which is formed by the union of hepatic duct and pancreatic duct. So that union we are calling as hepatopancreatic duct. So near the hepatopancreatic duct, a ampulla-like structure is formed. What is meant by ampulla-like structure? Ampulla is nothing but a spherical structure which has two handles. The spherical structure which has two handles, that structure we will call as ampulla. So that part is called ampulla of Vater. Ampulla of Vater. Where is ampulla of Vater? Ampulla of Vater is nothing but a structure which is formed by the union of hepatic duct and a pancreatic duct. That is, we can see this ampulla of Vater near a common duct called hepatopancreatic duct, or we can say as a hepatopancreatic ampulla. Another way also, ampulla of Vater we can call, or hepatopancreatic ampulla. So that is the structure of liver. Once again, see children, liver is the largest gland in the body. The weight of the liver is 1.2 to 1.5, that is 1.5 kilograms. Or it is present, liver is present below the diaphragm in the abdominal region towards the upper part or towards the right side of the abdominal region. Liver consists of two lobes. Each lobe is called hepatic lobe. Each hepatic lobe is of hexagonal in structure. So such kind of lobe we will call as hexagonal hepatic lobe. Each hexagonal hepatic lobe is the functional and structural unit of liver. Which is the functional and structural unit of liver? Hepatic, hexagonal hepatic lobes are the structural and functional unit of a liver. So this hexagonal liver are covered, hexagonal shape or lobes are covered by a thin connective sheath called Glisson capsule. It's called covered by a thin connective sheath called Glisson's capsule. Important bit children, Glisson's capsule. So each hepatic lobes consists of hepatic cells. The cells of liver are called hepatic cells. These hepatic cells are arranged in the liver hepatic cords, like a hepatic cords arranged in a they are arranged in hepatic cords. Hepatic cells gives out or produces or secretes bile juice. So the bile juice which is secreted by hepatic cells through hepatic ducts, it comes out. It comes out through the cyst, comes out and will be stored in a small muscular sac-like structure called gallbladder. So the shape of the gallbladder is pear shape. Shape of gallbladder is pear shape. These hepatic cords are arranged around the central vein. That is in the middle of the hepatic cord. What is present is central vein is present. Around the central vein, these hepatic cords are arranged in a hexagonal shape. So this hepatic cells gives out or produces bile juice. This bile juice comes out through hepatic duct and enters or will be stored in the gallbladder. So this gallbladder is a pear-shaped structure which is a thin muscular chamber which stores the bile juice. While storing the bile juice in the gallbladder, the bile juice is concentrated in the, where it is concentrated, very important children, bile juice is concentrated in the gallbladder. So this concentrated bile juice comes out through a duct called hepatic duct. Duct called cystic duct. What is cystic duct? the duct which arises from the gallbladder is called cystic duct. And another duct also arises from the liver. That duct is called hepatic duct. So this hepatic duct which is coming from the liver and the cystic duct which is arising from the gallbladder, both
జేఈఈ మెయిన్స్ 2020 మొదటి ప్రయత్నంలోనే 45 మంది విద్యార్థులకు గాను 36 మంది విద్యార్థులు ఐఐటి అడ్వాన్స్డ్ కి అర్హత సాధించి అత్యద్భుతమైన ప్రతిభను సామాన్యమైన విద్యార్థుల ద్వారా నిరూపించిన ఏకైక విద్యా సంస్థ
కృష్ణమూర్తి ఐఐటి అండ్ నీట్ అకాడమీ నెల్లూరు.
hepatic duct. Common hepatic duct is the union of cystic duct and another one is the hepatic duct. So both this common hepatic duct enters near the duodenum, enters into the duodenum, duodenum which is of C-shaped structure or we can say as U-shaped structure. So into this duodenum, this common hepatic duct enters. While uniting with the duodenum, another duct called pancreatic duct, because a leaf-like structure is present between the limbs of duodenum. That pancreas secretes the pancreatic juice. Even pancreatic juice also must enter into the duodenum. So the pancreatic juice which enters into the duodenum enters through a duct called pancreatic duct. So this pancreatic duct directly it won't enter into the duodenum. It combines with the hepatic duct, combines with common hepatic duct, and unitely both these combinedly forms into a hepatopancreatic duct. So common hepatopancreatic duct. What is meant by hepatopancreatic duct? Hepatopancreatic duct is nothing but the duct which is formed by the union of hepatic duct coming from the liver and pancreatic duct coming from the pancreas. Both unite together and forms a common duct called hepatopancreatic duct. This hepatopancreatic duct only enters into the duodenum, which carries the pancreatic juice as well as the bile juice. Pancreatic juice as well as the bile juice. So this enters into the duodenum. Between the union of these hepatic duct as well as pancreatic duct, a small ampulla-like structure is formed. Ampulla structure is nothing but a circular or a rectangular structure which has two handles. So that structure we are calling as ampulla of Vater. Little bit enlarged shape, nothing but because of the union of two ducts, a little shape will be enlarged. That enlarged shape we are calling as ampulla of Vater, or we can call as hepatopancreatic ampulla. So this enters into the duodenum. Now, if you see this gallbladder, this how much percentage of this will be stored is nearly per day. Liver produces, that is half liter to 1 liter of bile juice is secreted by the liver, will be secreted by the liver. And one more important bit is this gallbladder is absent in some of the organisms. In which organisms gallbladder is absent? So what is absent, children? Gallbladder is absent. Gallbladder is absent in birds, rats, and horses. So in these organisms, gallbladder is absent. In which organisms gallbladder is absent? Birds, rats, gallbladder is absent. So this is about the liver. Now we will see what are the functions of liver and how this liver is playing the major role for a. And one more thing you have to remember, children, here, bile juice has no enzymes, because for the digestion of the food materials we need enzymes. But whereas here this bile juice has no enzymes, but it has many functions. So now we will see what are the main functions of a liver and how it is helpful for the other functions without any enzymes. So bile juice is without enzymes. Bile juice is without enzymes. So it has no role in digestion. Bile juice has no enzymes, means it has no role in a digestion. Now we'll see the functions of liver. Functions of liver. So if you see the functions of liver, the first function of liver is liver produces bile juice. Liver produces bile juice. So what is the color of bile juice? The color of bile juice is yellowish green in color. Yellow green in color, or we can say yellowish green in color. Liver produces bile juice. The bile juice is of yellowish green in color. Bile juice consists of bile salts and bile pigments. Bile salts and bile pigments. Bile salts and bile pigments. What are bile salts and bile pigments? Bile salts are bile salts which are present in the bile juice. That is, bile salts are glycocollates, glycocollates, glycocollates and tarocollates, tarocollates of tarocollates of potassium and sodium, potassium and sodium, potassium and sodium. So what are the bile salts present in the bile juice? The bile salts which are present in the bile juice are glycocolate and tarocolate, that is potassium glycocolate, sodium glycocolate. Potassium tarocolate, potassium sodium tarocholates. So these are the bile salts which are present in the bile salts. Another one is bile pigments we said. Bile pigments. So what are the bile pigments present in it is bilirubin, bilirubin and biliverdin. Bilirubin and biliverdin. So this is very important, children. What are the bile salts? Is sodium glycocollates, potassium glycocollates, potassium tarocollates, sodium tarocollates. These are the bile salts which are present, as well as which is the bile pigments. The bile pigments which are present in the bile juice is bilirubin and biliverdin. Bilirubin and biliverdin. Here, how these bilirubin and biliverdin are produced? Bilirubin and biliverdin are produced because of the old RBC cells. Old RBC cells. So before talking this old RBC cells are, we can say as hemoglobin. Hemoglobin, because of hemoglobin. So what is why old RBC cells means? Already we have seen in the lower classes, the life cycle of RBC is 120 days. More than 120 days, the red blood cells will be disintegrating. So because of the disintegrating of these RBC cells and RBC cells, these bile pigments are formed. What are the bile pigments? Bilirubin and biliverdin are the bile pigments which are formed because of the destruction of old RBC cells, that is hemoglobin. And we know that hemoglobin consists of a pigment, globin, and heme is nothing but an iron particle. So whereas the iron particle which is present in the hemoglobin will be again enters to the body for other functions, but whereas the globin molecule, that is the pigment molecule, enters as a bile pigment. So in this way, this bile pigment is formed. And one more thing also we have to see here, children, that is we will be observing some persons will be suffering from jaundice. So that is because of the bile pigment, we get a disease called jaundice. So jaundice occurs because of bile pigments. Because of bile pigments. So because of this bile pigment, we get a disease called jaundice. So how this jaundice occurs to the persons because of bile pigments is, actually the bile pigments are bile salts, whatever is secreted in the body will be excreted out through excretory waste materials. But in some cases, when the cystic duct is blocked, what is cystic duct? The duct which arises from the gallbladder we are calling as cystic duct. When the cystic duct is blocked, instead of entering this bile pigments along with this excretory waste materials, it enters to the body. It enters to the body means along with the blood circulation, even bile pigments also enters to the circulation. So that is when it enters to the body, these bile pigments will be present in the blood. So the blood we know already body is covered with 99% of blood. So along with this blood, it enters to all parts of the body. So the persons those who are suffering from jaundice, we can see body appears to be little white, yellow in color, and also in the eyes also we can see eyes turns to yellow color. That is the indication of jaundice, and we should we can come to know when the eyes are yellow in color, the person is suffering from jaundice. That is because of the blocking of cystic duct or bile pigments entering into the blood circulation. So that because with the help of the treatment we can reduce this jaundice. So this is bile pigments and bile salts. So another important function of the liver is, liver plays a major role in carbon metabolism, carbohydrate metabolism, carbohydrate metabolism. So what is the other function of liver? The first function of liver is, liver secretes bile juice which is yellowish green in color, which consists of bile salts and bile pigments. Bile salts are glycocholates and tarocholates of potassium and sodium, whereas bile pigments are bilirubin and biliverdin, which are formed by the destruction of old RBC cells, or we can call as the hemoglobin. So because if this bile pigment instead of coming along with excretory matter, suddenly if cystic duct is blocked, it enters into the blood, it causes a disease called jaundice. So another function, another one is the liver plays a major role in carbohydrate metabolism. So what is the another function? Liver plays a major role in carbohydrate metabolism. So what are carbohydrate metabolism? So carbohydrate metabolism where the liver plays is, that is glycogenesis, glycogenesis. Another one is glycogenolysis, glycogenolysis, and gluconeogenesis, gluconeogenesis. So these are the things where the liver plays in carbohydrate metabolism. So carbohydrate metabolism, what is meant by carbohydrate metabolism is, when the body is needed, glucose content. Actually, we know that carbohydrates are the energy sources. Even fat also is energy source, but fat is stored, a reserved energy store. But whereas carbohydrate, when our body is needed, directly glucose gives energy for the cells. But here, when the body lacks carbohydrates, so that carbohydrates which are present in other forms of sugars like glycogen. Suppose glycogen is another form of sugar where we can convert into glucose and obtain the energy for the metabolic activity. So even that metabolic activity also is done by the liver. So that is carbohydrate metabolism. So in what way liver is playing an important role in carbohydrate metabolism is, that is glycogenesis. What is meant by glycogenesis is conversion of glucose into glycogen. Conversion of glucose into glycogen is called glycogenesis. Glycogen, genesis means synthesis. So liver can synthesize, liver can secrete, or liver can store some kinds of things. So such an important function we have on the liver. Most of the functions in our body are done by the liver. Like what are the functions? We can say storage, storing different kinds of substances like cholesterol, carbohydrates, this and all. Another one is what synthesize. It can synthesize whenever the energy is needed. It can store and it can secrete also. So like that, in that way, glycogenesis is synthesizing glycogen. Synthesis of glycogen is called glycogenesis. It's called a glycogenesis. Another one is glycogenolysis. Glycogenolysis. What is meant by glycogenolysis means glycogenolysis. Glycogenolysis is the breakdown of glycogen. Breakdown of glycogen. Breakdown of glycogen and liberating the energy is called lysis. Lysis is breakdown. Lysis is a breakdown. So breaking down the glycogen and liberating the energy is called glycogenolysis. Another one is gluconeogenesis. Gluconeogenesis is producing the glucose. Producing the glucose. So how the production of glucose? Production of glucose occurs because of the metabolic activities. Different kinds of sugars which are present in the body is produced into glucose because only the glucose is the energy giving substance for the metabolic activities. So in this liver plays different kinds of metabolic activities, and these metabolic activities which are generated and produces the glucose is called gluconeogenesis. So production of glucose by different kinds of metabolic activities is called glucose, or not only glucose, we can say different kinds of sugars also. So because of the metabolic activities, different kinds of sugars are formed. That production is called gluconeogenesis. So this is the another function of liver. Another one is lipid metabolism. Lipid metabolism. Liver plays an important role in lipid metabolism. Lipid metabolism is synthesizing of lipids. Synthesizing the lipids. What is synthesizing of lipids? Already we have seen that lipids are nothing but the fatty substances which are stored in the adipose tissue. Suppose whenever the body is needed, energy, extra amount of energy is needed for the body, that extra amount of energy is liberated by the liver by synthesizing the lipids present inside the body. Or we can say cholesterol also. Cholesterol metabolism. Cholesterol, cholesterol metabolism. Cholesterol metabolism or synthesis of a metabolism, lipid metabolism. So another function, what is the another function of a liver? So another function of liver is deamination. Deamination. So what is meant by deamination? So what is deamination? Deamination is nothing but removing the deamination. So amino group D. D means removing. Amino group. So removing the amino group from amino acid. Removing amino group. This is the amino group. Removing amino group from which one? From amino acid. From amino acid is called deamination. So in the deamination, what the liver plays is, liver plays the important role in deamination by removing the amino group from amino acid, and the amino group which is removed from the amino acid forms into urea. Forms into urea. Important bit, children. The amino group which is removed from the amino acid forms into urea through which cycle is ornithine cycle. Ornithine cycle. Very important bit. Ornithine cycle. What is that? Ornithine cycle. What is meant by ornithine cycle? The amino group which is removed from the amino acid forms into urea. Urea is nothing but the excretory waste material which comes out in human beings. The excretory material which is coming out, we are calling as a urea, or we can say a nitrogenous waste material is urea. So how urea is formed in our body? Urea is formed in the body with the help of liver by ornithine cycle. That is one of the function. And another one is formation of formation, or we can say as a gluconeogenesis. Gluco gluconeogenesis. Gluconeogenesis, or we can say glyconeogenesis. We'll say glyconeogenesis. So what is meant by glyconeogenesis? What is meant by glyconeogenesis means, so another function of the liver, glyconeogenesis.
జేఈఈ మెయిన్స్ 2020 మొదటి ప్రయత్నంలోనే 45 మంది విద్యార్థులకు గాను 36 మంది విద్యార్థులు ఐఐటి అడ్వాన్స్డ్ కి అర్హత సాధించి అత్యద్భుతమైన ప్రతిభను సామాన్యమైన విద్యార్థుల ద్వారా నిరూపించిన ఏకైక విద్యా సంస్థ
కృష్ణమూర్తి ఐఐటి అండ్ నీట్ అకాడమీ నెల్లూరు.
Production of glycogen. Glycogen. Genesis means synthesizing. Glycogen is synthesized. So how glycogen is produced from where? Glycogen is produced from the lactic acid. Produced from the lactic acid. Very important, children. Glycogenesis. Another function of liver is production of glycogenesis. What is meant by glycogenesis? Glycogenesis is producing glycogen from lactic acid. So how lactic acid is formed? Lactic acid is formed in human body because of anaerobic respiration. Anaerobic respiration. So where anaerobic respiration, what is meant by anaerobic respiration? Anaerobic respiration is nothing but the respiration which occurs in absence of oxygen. If the respiration occurs in absence of oxygen, that respiration we will call as anaerobic respiration. So anaerobic respiration takes in human body means, yes, sometimes it takes in human body. So how it takes in human body is, suppose when we are continuously walking, the muscles get fatigue. Continuously walking, or we can say when we are doing continuous work, the muscles in that particular part get fatigue. Fatigue is nothing but becomes strain. So when becomes strain or becomes fatigue, the glucose content which is present in that muscles will be used by the cells for the working purpose. Now, when all the glucose present in that muscles is used up by the cells, now glucose content becomes low. When glucose content becomes low in the muscles, there what kind of respiration occurs is anaerobic respiration occurs. So during that anaerobic respiration, lactic acid is produced in the muscles. So when this lactic acid is produced, again the muscles needed glucose. So for that glucose, the lactic acid is converted to glycogen. Is converted to glycogen by the liver. That process is called glyconeogenesis. Glyconeogenesis. So another function of liver is it acts as thermoregulatory organ. Thermoregulatory organ. Liver acts as thermoregulatory organ. What is thermoregulatory? Thermoregulatory is nothing but which maintains the temperature. When more temperature is there, then less temperature is there. Which maintains the constant temperature in the human body is liver. Not continuously, but sometimes it acts as a regulatory organ. Suppose when continuous work, muscles, okay, this muscular system, this and all is continuously working, and more temperature is there, liver will be regulating the temperature. So that is called thermoregulatory. And the main important function of the liver is, liver plays a major role in toxic substances, or we can say detoxifying the substances. So the main function of the liver is liver plays in detoxification. 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 So liver plays a main role in detoxification. So what is meant by detoxification? Detoxification is along with the food materials and water. The food materials and water which we are drinking consists of microorganisms, germs or bacteria, or microorganisms is nothing but germs and bacteria. So this bacteria directly enters into the food and water. But here what we have to see is these microorganisms directly while entering into the blood circulation. So these microorganisms will not enter into the food, will not enter directly into the blood circulation. So which is preventing in order to enter into the food particles is liver. So the bacterium before entering directly to the blood circulation, the food particles and the water enters to the liver through hepatic portal vein. Hepatic portal vein. Hepatic portal vein. Very important children. Very important picture. Many times they asked us hepatic portal vein. Hepatic portal vein is nothing but the vein which connects from alimentary canal to the liver. Alimentary canal to the liver. Alimentary canal to the liver means food and water consists of microorganisms. If the microorganisms which are present in the food and water enters to the body, we suffer from diseases. So instead of directly entering to this blood circulation, from the intestine there is a connection to the liver. So that connection is called hepatic portal vein. So through hepatic portal vein, the digested food particles directly enters to the liver. So inside the liver what happens is, these toxic substances after entering into the liver, it is detoxified. Detoxified means harmful bacteria is killed in the liver, and after killing the liver, after killing the bacteria present in the food particles, then only it enters to the blood circulation. That is called detoxification. So while speaking about the detoxification, another thing, another important thing also we have to speak. What is that? Is liver we will call as first check post in the body. Which is the first check post in the body? Liver is called the first check post. Liver is known as first check post in the body. So why we are calling as liver as the first check post in the body is not only food particles and water which consists of microorganisms. Suppose the person who is consuming alcohol, the person who is consuming alcohol. So the person who is consuming alcohol, alcohol is nothing but mandu tagadam nana Telugulo that we will call as mandu. So this the persons those who are drinking, these persons, when suppose the persons those who are continuously drinking, we will say all this liver is damaged. So why liver damages for the persons those who are drinking is alcohol is toxic to the body. But alcohol is toxic to the body. The alcohol which is entering into the body directly enters to the liver. So it enters to the liver. While it is entering into the liver, liver detoxifies this alcohol. Detoxifies means already I said that alcohol causes damage to the persons, but it damages which part? It is damaging the liver part. So why it is damaging the liver part is alcohol directly will not enter to the body. Before entering to the body, it enters to the liver. So inside the liver, the alcohol which damages the body is detoxified by the liver. But only little content of alcohol can be detoxified. But when the person is continuously drinking the alcohol, more amount of alcohol cannot be detoxified by the liver. So that only the persons those who are consuming alcohol, which part is first damaged is liver is damaged. So in that way, and also another bacteria or another fungus called Aspergillus flavus. Aspergillus flavus. It is a fungal disease. Aspergillus flavus is a fungal disease. Is a fungal disease. Even because of this fungal disease, Aspergillus flavus is a fungal disease which affects the liver cells also. So it affects the liver cells and even sometimes gets cancers also. So this is one of the function of so the persons continuously drinking alcohol. Another word also we can use, children, that is cirrhosis. Cirrhosis, or we can call as a alcoholic cirrhosis. Alcoholic, alcoholic cirrhosis. Alcoholic cirrhosis is nothing but the liver cells damage to the persons those who are continuously drinking alcohol. So liver cells damages, and in that places we can see fibers of tissues are formed, so that the liver functions will be lagging. So that persons will call as alcoholic cirrhosis. That is the function. So another liver function is liver plays an important role in liver plays an important role in as a hemopoietic organ. Hemopoietic organ. So what is hemopoietic organ? Hemopoietic organ. This was important bit, children. Hemopoietic organ. What is hemopoietic organ is in the fetal stage. Fetal stage. What is meant by fetal stage? Fetal stage is in the embryo stage, or in the embryo stage, RBC cells are produced in the liver. RBC cells in the fetal stage, that is during the embryo stage, RBC cells are produced inside the liver. And also the same way during the adult, when during the adult, liver acts as erythroclastic organ. Erythroclastic organ. So during the embryonic stage, liver plays as hemopoietic organ. Hemopoietic organ means red blood cells are produced during the embryo stage from the liver. But whereas in the adult stage, liver acts as erythroclastic organ. What is meant by erythroclastic organ? Erythroclastic organ is after 120 days, I said RBC cells are destroyed. That RBC cells are destroyed in the liver. So spoiling or destroying RBC cells is called erythroclastic. That is damaging RBC cells is called erythroclastic. So liver plays hemopoietic organ in the embryo stage as well as erythroclastic organ in the. Another one is production of plasma proteins. Production of plasma proteins. This functions of liver is very important for IP question also, children, for 4 marks. Production of plasma proteins. What are the plasma proteins? The plasma proteins like albumins, albumins and globulins. Albumins and globulins are produced from the liver. Plasma proteins like albumins and globulins are produced from the liver. And along with this, blood clotting factors. Blood clotting factors. What are blood clotting factors? Fibrinogen and prothrombin. Very important. Fibrinogen, fibrinogen and prothrombin. Prothrombin. So these both are fibrinogen and prothrombin are the blood clotting factors. These are also produced from the liver. And another one is anticoagulant. Anticoagulant called heparin. Anticoagulant called heparin also is produced from the liver. Is produced from the liver. Another one very important bit, and many times they asked also, Kupffer cells. Kupffer cells. So what are Kupffer cells? Kupffer cells. Kupffer cells, or we can call as hepatic macrophages. Hepatic macrophages. Hepatic macrophages. So hepatic macrophages, or we will call as Kupffer cells. So what are Kupffer cells? Kupffer cells are nothing but the cells which are present between the sinusoids. Suppose already I have said, children, the liver lobe is of hexagonal. This is the central vein, and we said hepatic cords. Hepatic cords means hepatic cells. Hepatic cells are arranged in the form of a hepatic cord. So in between these hepatic cords, a space is present. This space is called sinusoids. Sinusoids. What is meant by sinusoid? Sinusoid is nothing but a space present between the hepatic cord. That space in between the sinusoid, a special cells are present in the liver. That special cells are called Kupffer cells. Kupffer cells. Where are Kupffer cells present? Kupffer cells are nothing but the cells which are present between the hepatic cord or in the sinusoid. Sinusoid is nothing but the space present between the hepatic cord. So what is the main function of Kupffer cells is these cells are known as killer cells. The microorganisms or the bacteria or whatever enters into the liver, these cells kills those organisms. These cells kills those microorganisms or germs entering into the body. So such kind of cells are called hepatic macrophages. The hepatic macrophages. Which cells are hepatic? Very important bit children. Hepatic macrophages are nothing but the Kupffer cells which are present in the sinusoid. These are the functions of liver. Once again, we will recall children what are the functions of liver. The main and foremost function of the liver is liver secretes the bile juice. Bile juice is yellowish green in color. Per day, we can say one that is half liter to 1 liter of bile juice is produced from the liver, which is of yellowish green in color. Liver juice or bile juice has no digestive enzymes. No digestive enzymes are present in the bile juice, which consists of bile salts and bile pigment. What are bile salts? Bile salts are glycocollates and tarocollates of sodium and potassium. Bile pigments are bilirubin and biliverdin. Bile pigment is formed because of the damage or because of the destroying of old RBC cells. And the next point is liver plays a major role in carbohydrate metabolism. Carbohydrate metabolism is whenever the body is needed extra amount of energy or more amount of energy also is stored in the form of glycogens, whereas more amount of energy is needed for the body also. This extra amount of carbohydrates also is produced by the liver in carbohydrate metabolism. That process, different kinds of processes are there. What are these different kinds of processes? Already I have said that is glycogenesis, glyconeogenesis, and gluconeogenesis and glycolysis. So these are the things which that is breaking down of glycogen, then production of glycogen and production of sugars or glucose from different kinds of metabolic activities. That are the carbohydrate metabolism. Another one is the lipid metabolism. Whenever this cholesterol, synthesis of cholesterol or lipid storage or energy derived from this lipid also is done by the liver. And deamination. Deamination is removing the amino group from amino acid and converting this amino group into the urea, which we are calling as nitrogenous waste material by ornithine cycle. That is deamination. And another function is lactic acid. This lactic acid, or we can say glyconeogenesis. So the lactic acid is produced by anaerobic respiration when muscles contract continuously. More amount of energy is used up, so muscles need still more glucose and still more energy in the form of glucose. That glucose is given by the liver when with the help of glyconeogenesis. So the lactic acid which is produced by the muscle contraction, that lactic acid is converted to glycogen by the help of liver. That is one more function. Another one is liver plays an important role for thermoregulatory, or it acts as a thermoregulatory organ. Whenever the temperature is less or more, this liver plays acts as a thermoregulatory organ by regulating the body temperature in a minimum way. And it plays an important role for detoxification. So detoxification is when we are drinking water and food, when we are consuming food and water consists of many microorganisms. These microorganisms with the liver prevents entering these microorganisms directly into the blood circulation. It prevents, and the digested food particle from the intestine enters into the liver through hepatic portal vein. This after entering through the hepatic portal vein, liver detoxifies these germs, and after detoxifying only these things will enter into the blood circulation. That is one more function. Whereas another function is the persons those who are consuming alcohol. This alcohol is effect to the body. So directly alcohol will not enter to the blood circulation. It is detoxified by the liver cells. So liver toxifies more of the alcohol, but only little amount of alcohol can be detoxified by the liver. And the person is continuously drinking that alcohol, more amount of alcohol cannot be detoxified. So that this alcohol being present inside the liver cells will be damaged. So which part is damaged for the person those who are consuming alcohol is liver is damaged. That condition we'll call as alcoholic cirrhosis. Cirrhosis is nothing but the damage of the liver cells because of continuously consuming the alcohol. And even the cancerous cells, liver also sometimes gets the cancer. That is called that occurs.
జేఈఈ మెయిన్స్ 2020 మొదటి ప్రయత్నంలోనే 45 మంది విద్యార్థులకు గాను 36 మంది విద్యార్థులు ఐఐటి అడ్వాన్స్డ్ కి అర్హత సాధించి అత్యద్భుతమైన ప్రతిభను సామాన్యమైన విద్యార్థుల ద్వారా నిరూపించిన ఏకైక విద్యా సంస్థ
కృష్ణమూర్తి ఐఐటి అండ్ నీట్ అకాడమీ నెల్లూరు.
Because of that fungal disease, even sometimes affects the cancer, liver gets cancer. And another function is liver plays important role for production of RBC cells. So that we will call as hemopoietic organ during fetal stage or during the embryonic stage. And in adults, RBC cells are destroyed after 120 days. So that is erythroclastic. Erythroclastic we will say. So liver acts as an erythroclastic organ also. Liver produces a plasma proteins called albumins, globulins, as well as blood clotting factors like fibrinogen and prothrombin, and also produce an anticoagulant called heparin. Liver plays a major role for killing the microorganisms with the help of phagocytic cells called Kupffer cells, or that cells we are calling as hepatic macrophages. These hepatic macrophages or Kupffer cells are present in the sinusoids. Sinusoids are nothing but the space present between the hepatic cords. So these are the functions of liver. So the next part is pancreas. The next one is pancreas. Pancreas. Pancreas is the second largest gland. Pancreas is the second largest gland in the body. Which is the first largest gland? Liver is the first largest gland, whereas pancreas is the second largest gland. Second largest gland. And where is the location of pancreas? Pancreas is located between the limbs of duodenum. Between the limbs of duodenum. Between the limbs of duodenum, pancreas is located. Pancreas is located between the limbs of duodenum. The shape is of leaf-like structure. Pancreas looks like leaf-like structure. So there are two kinds of glands present in the pancreas. Two kinds of glands are present in the pancreas. How many kinds are present, children? Two kinds of glands are present. What are the two kinds of glands are present? So pancreas we are calling as mixed gland. We are calling pancreas as mixed gland. Why we are calling pancreas as mixed gland? Two kinds of glands are present in the pancreas. So we are calling it as a mixed gland. What are the two kinds of glands? One is exocrine pancreas. Exocrine pancreas Another one is endocrine pancreas, exocrine and endocrine pancreas. Exocrine pancreas and endocrine pancreas. Both this exocrine and endocrine. First we will see about exocrine. Exocrine, the cells present in exocrine pancreas are called Acini cells. The cells present in exocrine pancreas are called acini. Important children. What are acini? The cells which are present in exocrine. How many parts are present in pancreas? Two parts are present. One is exocrine, another one is endocrine. Exocrine, the cells present in exocrine are called acini cells. Acini cells. So what is meant by exocrine and what is meant by endocrine? If you see the difference, exocrine glands are nothing but the glands which possess ducts. The glands which possess duct. If duct is present, it is called exocrine. If duct is absent, or we can call ductless glands are called endocrine. Ductless glands are called endocrine. What are ductless glands? Pituitary glands, pituitary glands or many other glands. We can give examples for endocrine. So the ductless glands, what the production, how it enters to the blood is, production of endocrine glands directly enters to the blood without because of ducts are absent, ductless glands. Exocrine glands have the ducts, so that through the ducts, the secretions which are secreted by these glands enters to the target cells or enters to particular part of the body. So that is exocrine gland. Cells present in this exocrine are called acini. So the juice which comes from this exocrine is we'll call as it consists of gives out the pancreatic juice or the enzymes present in exocrine. The enzymes present in exocrine glands are sodium carbonate, sodium carbonate, sodium carbonate. The enzymes present in the exocrine glands or exocrine glands gives out the enzymes like sodium carbonate, trypsinogen, chymotrypsinogen, then carboxypeptidases, and nucleases of DNAs and RNAs. Another one is pancreatic amylase, or we can call as trypsin, and pancreatic lipase. So these are the enzymes present in the pancreatic juice or the endocrine which secretes the enzymes are sodium carbonate, trypsinogen, chymotrypsinogen, carboxypeptidases, nucleases of DNAs and RNAs, pancreatic amylase and pancreatic lipase. Say the pH of enzyme, the pH of this endocrine enzyme is 8.4. So the pH of the endocrine, this one is the pH is 8.4. So this is about exocrine. If you see the endocrine, the cells present in the endocrine are called islets of Langerhans. The cells, this is endocrine pancreas is the ductless gland. It consists of a cells called islets of Langerhans. This islets of Langerhans secretes glycogen and insulin. Glycogen and insulin. Glycogen and insulin. So this is about the pancreas. So about these enzymes, what is the function of these enzymes? This and all we will see in the process of digestion. So pancreas is a leaf-like structure which is present between the limbs of the duodenum. It is the second largest gland in the body, and we will call this as a mixed gland because two types of pancreas is present. One is exocrine pancreas, another one is endocrine pancreas. Exocrine pancreas gives out the enzymes. Pancreatic juice pH is 8.4, which gives out the enzymes. Exocrine is nothing but the gland which has a duct. Another one is endocrine gland. Endocrine glands are ductless glands. If you see the exocrine pancreas, the cells present in the exocrine pancreas are called Eschini cells. These cells gives out the pancreatic juice or pancreatic enzymes. The pancreatic enzymes, the pH of pancreatic enzyme is 8.4. So what are the enzymes present in the pancreatic juices? The enzymes present in the pancreatic juice is sodium carbonate, trypsinogen, chymotrypsinogen, carboxypeptidases, nucleases of DNAs and RNAs, pancreatic amylase or we'll call as trypsin, pancreatic lipase. These are the enzymes present in the pancreatic juice. When it comes to the endocrine glands, the cells present in the endocrine glands are called islets of Langerhans. Important with children, islets of Langerhans. So islets of Langerhans are the cells present in the endocrine glands. This produces glycogen and insulin. So this and all about pancreatic, this and all we will see in the later class. Okay, we will continue tomorrow, children. Process of digestion and what is the function of different enzymes.